There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With over 140 channels in your vehicle, your all-access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.
Happy Monday, everybody. What's going on? Thanks for tuning into this lunch hour learning session, CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. And as you can tell from our little intro, our guests today like to do it up big and turn it up loud because everybody needs 8 amplifiers and 14 speakers on their side-by-side. I don't even know why that's even an option. I mean, that's just what you should do. And to tell us all about that and tell us more about all the great products that DB Drive has to offer through Importel, we've got our 12-volt specialist, Mr. Romesh. How are you, sir? It would help, sir, if you turn on your microphone so we can hear your lovely voice. There you go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Hey, Ben. Thanks for the warm welcome.
I'll tell you what, it's always fun to have you on screen with me as we navigate the offering that DB Drive. Now, I've seen different logos. You know, you guys, DB Drive. I've seen an amphibious logo tattooed onto that side-by-side we saw in the video.
There's Amphibious, there's Euphoria, there's DB Drive. There's also a relatively new series that kind of came out last year during the midst of our fun times called the Expert Series. So yeah, it all kind of encompasses power sports and amphibious applications, marine, side-by-sides, motorcycles, Harleys, like you name it, we got it.
And you know what? I don't think it's a secret anymore, but I mean, mobile audio, as we call the category now, is just that. It's bringing your sound everywhere you go and having the right products to fit, to sound great, and to have that experience. And I think DB Drive covers all those categories, does it not?
You know what? I can't think of a category that isn't covered appropriately. Not just one offering, and you get to put a subheader in your catalog or on your website. Application wise, we've got everything from mild to wild, I think.
Very, very cool. Well, listen, we can't do a DB Drive show and not have the man come on with us. The guy knows everything there is to know DB Drive and backwards. So why don't we bring him on? His name again is Ernie Welch, and we welcome him back to CMA. What's going on, Ernie?
Hey, Ben, Romesh, how you doing, guys?
Hey, Ernie, how you doing?
Ready to get our learn on, as we say.
Well, I like the intro, first of all. And if you're wondering why you have to have that many amps and speakers and lights on a UTV, why would you not?
Why would you not?
I mean, at the end of the day,
surprised it fits.
Well, here, we sell fun, right? At the end of the day, that's what we're doing. And whether you're doing something on your Jeep or your UTV, whatever application you got, like you said, it's a mobile audio. You're taking that fun with you. So why not make it as entertaining as possible, make it as long lasting as possible? But if that's going to be part of your lifestyle, make it the best that you can do. It's not that everybody has to have 8 amplifiers or a million speakers or a bunch of lights on something to make it do what they want. We could do things at any level that anybody would expect or be happy with. Example being, we just finished up a show recently, and we had some folks that would walk in and want to do something crazy like you guys just saw there. Then some people just say, you know what, I need to hear it a little bit better when I go down the road, but I don't need to deafen the entire neighborhood. Hey, it's your lifestyle. We just make the fun stuff to bring it to the level that you need it to be at.
Well, and it's cool that you guys always do that. I mean, everything I've ever seen you guys put, especially when it comes to demo vehicle, is show everything and then let the people know that, hey, we can accommodate any level or portion of this that you see here. So very, very cool. Romesh, I'm going to kind of lean on you. We got the specialist in the house. We know what we're talking about. Where do we want this adventure to begin?
Where do we want to begin? Let's do Marine, Ernie.
Marine.
Let's hit the amphibious. Let's start with amphibious.
Let's get wet first. Let's
do that.
All right. Okay. So no worries. Amphibious falls underneath that umbrella of brands that people are familiar with. DB Research, you mentioned Euphoria. We have DB Drive and a whole plethora of products, and some of that overlaps. So some things that you might find in a series or a brand like Expert may have some of those IP ratings that you need to use on a motorcycle or in a Jeep, but people also trend to put that maybe inside of a vehicle or put it inside of a pickup truck application as well. Again, it just depends on what your goal is and what products you're going to use to get you there. But inside Amphibious, you're going to find things like our tubbies, our can speakers. You're going to find things like marine graded amplifiers. Depending on, again, what your goal is. I'll talk specifically. I don't know where Romesh has grabbed there. It looks like he's going to get something big and bad. That's our 10-inch subwoofer. So to speak specific to that, we found a lot of application use for this. You got a 10-inch shallow mount subwoofer. Obviously, it's got the cool look that you could go with, but a lot of times, again, in a Jeep or a UTV, what you find is limited space. So you need to get the maximum performance out of a small package as you can. That fits the bill with that shallow mount, but we're still giving you a 3-inch voice coil. We're still giving you a 40-ounce magnet inside there. If you look at the spiders and the way that all these things are designed, we have that thing designed to work inside of a small enclosure, but also keep itself cool, because the environment that these things go into are some of the harshest environments that audio can be in. We're going to be hot, we're going to be humid, we're going to be damp, we're going to be cold. It just depends on what you're riding where. So those subwoofers are designed to handle those exterior elements when they're outside. Big time woofers in a small package is what you're getting there with all the marine coatings. So hitting them with a little bit of mud, hitting them with a little bit of water, not going to be an issue for those woofers.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just noticed the one thing that I noticed immediately when you put that woofer up is the finishing on the basket. That looks like one of those, like the ones you put in the back of a pickup. I'm going to put Romesh back on that. It looks like a really rough coating on there.
Yeah, so you're looking at coatings on the basket. So what you end up with there is the same thing, even though that thing is going to end up inside of an enclosure. We do the extra steps and that help to bring quality and value up inside of a product that we're offering. So we don't just put a painted steel basket out there. We do things like put the extra finish on it so that you have a coating that when that thing sees moisture, because it will, it's going to stand up. You're not going to take your subwoofer out and have to look at a big rust basket on the back of that thing. It's going to hold up. And frankly, it looks cool. I mean, it's a good looking basket.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a powder coated crinkle coat on there. And then from the 10, as far as sizes, once you walk through the speaker sizes that we have, I couldn't get my display board in the door, so I don't have that lit display that we wanted, but we can go through that.
So inside of Amphibious, we make the traditional coaxial type speaker that people use, and we make it very install friendly. So we've got a 6.5, we've got an 8-inch. We also do a 6x9, and we make them in the black and the white. So if you're going to boat, it works depending on the look that you want to go with those colors. We also make them in RGB. So one of the things that we do that's a lot of fun is we make our speakers And a lot of the products that we're going to show you today, we make our speakers, our tubbies, our light bars, even our sound bars have got a RGB control function on them. And just so you know, you could get any color in an infinite pattern, whatever you want to do with these things, you can do it. We give you multiple ways of control. We can give you like a remote control that you can use to make these things go, or you can just Bluetooth it off your phone. Everything that we sell you has got a QR code on it that you can scan. You take that app, which is proprietary to us, and you can control those lights inside the speakers, or you can make them go on your sound bar, or if you want to put light bars on whatever your application you're using, no problem. We can make them all sync together. We even have adapters. Let's say you bought something from a different company, but you want to put on some of our products. We can make all of that integrate and talk together.
So there's the adapter right there, right? And then the controller I was holding up is the 4-channel, and the 4-channel comes with a RF remote, not an IR, so it'll work in the sunlight, unlike some other ones out there. And then you're talking about being able to use it with other brands, Ernie, or other devices, if you will, that are RGB, like lighting and what have you, that may not have the 4-pin screw-on O-ring connector. So we've actually got not to get this caught here. So we've actually got a sealed O-ring on there. I don't know if you can see it. Let me move it back a bit.
Yep.
So you've got the O-ring on there, and then it's a proper screw down, 4-pin screw down. So as far as elements and having to go back and redo installs or troubleshoot installs, it's not really a consideration. And then we've got a 3-foot and a 10-foot extension as well. So depending on how far you need to run them in the boat or on a side-by-side or what have you, it saves that install time. When you start adding the wire and then the number of connections that you're making per driver, right, and then heat sealing them all or heat shrinking them all with adhesive, it starts adding. Like if you're doing 8 speakers with 4 connection points at either end, where everyone's like, oh, no, I don't need a cable, I'm just going to extend it. It's a make work project, right? So it becomes a lot more efficient and right for the dealer and for the consumer, less chance of potential issues down the road because you're just doing a proper screw down, which is a weather resistant.
I got 2 questions for you. Number one, just going back to the subwoofer, are the subs also illuminated?
They're not.
They're not.
So, we don't illuminate the woofer, and that's got a couple of reasons why we don't do that. So first of all, there's just a lot of motion and a lot of pressure on that subwoofer to do that. So we chose not to do that. Years ago in the past, there's been attempts to do that. So there's a couple of things that happen there. We choose not to do it for that reason, but we make other lighting solutions. So if you wanted to illuminate the enclosure or you want to do something backlit, we've got product that can help you to get there. But lighting the subwoofer itself, we don't do that. And those are a couple of the reasons why.
Okay, very good. And are those subwoofers for sealed ported enclosures, or do you have infinite baffle models as well?
So yes, you can IB them, but ideally we get them in a port. Every good installer understands that a woofer is only as good as its enclosure. So what we try to do is make that woofer as wide of enclosure acceptability as possible. So what we're going after is, we know that some of these subs may end up underneath of dashes. Some of these may end up underneath of seats. Some of these may end up behind seats, and they're going to be in all kinds of weird places. So we want that woofer to not have to be so specific. We want to be very generous with the volume application, with the with the port application, or with the sealed, whatever the installer ends up needing to do to make that woofer perform at its maximum. We tried to put that inside there. And frankly, that's another reason in amphibious why you don't see 8s, 15s, 12s, all these different size woofers. The 10-inch woofer is the most versatile in the applications that we're trying to go to, which is the boats, the UTVs. It just fits most applications. And it gets confusing to a consumer sometimes when they're looking at it and say, well, a 12 or a 15, hey, that does more. I want a 15-inch marine type sub, where it may not actually be the best solution for them.
Okay, very well. And in the lighting solutions, is it all the coaxials? Do they connect also to the sound bar? Or you mentioned sound bar, so I was just trying to figure that part out.
Yeah, so we make a sound bar. We've got a 6-speaker and a 10-speaker sound bar, and very traditional sound bar. They're self-amplified, they're Bluetooth. They come with a complete bracket system inside the box, so they're very universal in what they do there as well. So these sound bars are fantastic for our UTV type customers. It's a very, like we talked about earlier, different folks having different needs with what they're doing, and some people just want music. They don't necessarily want to blow the whole neighborhood out, but when they're riding on a trail or they're riding around on a farm or they're doing whatever on a beach, they just want to hear some music. These sound bars are great solutions for that. They go up with, like I said, with the included bracketry system is in the box to fit all the different size bar needs that come with all the different UTVs. They Bluetooth, so you just connect it to your phone, and they have a couple of lights built into them that control what those controllers that Romesh was showing a little bit ago. And it's real simple. You can control it with your remote, control it with your
what's Romesh showing us?
That's
here?
your bracket system right there. So it comes with all the different connections for the bars, for the UTVs, and then what he's got there that he just removed are the end plates. So if you want to do like a pillar mount, you can do that as well. What people love about it's just the power. It's a ground. It's a simple hookup, and somebody's got sound on their UTV. And again, everybody has a different use for these things. So somebody just wants to hear a little bit of sound. These things do a great job, but that's not to say that they're not going to get out and rock and roll as well. We play these things often. They perform.
So the follow-up question to that then is, can the sound bars from DB transition into growing a bigger system if you start with the sound bar?
If you wanted to do something like that, you can. We have ins and outs on them as well.
Okay,
so,
perfect.
A system is just as limited as anybody wants it to be. You can add or take away anything you want to at any time. It's about like collecting comic books. You can go buy $1 worth of comics, or you can buy $1 million worth of comics. It's however far you want to go, right? Same thing there, but you're looking
at a good place to start, though, Ernie. I think it's a great place to start as a soundbar.
Let me say this: if you're looking at something like a UTV, if you're looking at something like a golf cart, this is the ideal place to start. Everything is controlled right on the front of the unit. You don't have to have a ton of different pieces. It's a simple connection. It's a simple hookup, and gets you a tremendous amount of value or of volume and performance out of a simple system to install. It's a great place to start. Then he said, hey, I want to add a woofer to this system later on. He said, hey, I want to add an amplifier and a set of tubby speakers to this. That gives you the ability to do that.
Perfect. Anything to add?
Hey, Ernie, what are all these things?
So those are different inputs and outputs. So that's how you would add and take away or add or come out of that system if you wanted to get signal in or out of there. We give you an auxiliary input. You've got a set of RCAs on there as well.
If I understand correctly, I install my soundbar. I connect to it with my phone with the Bluetooth. I'm playing music. I'm like, man, I need more bass. I can out from there, go into an amplifier, and add a subwoofer.
Sure thing.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to know. Okay, perfect.
Sure thing.
I mean, you could even add, so if you started off small with this and then your needs changed, you could literally add this even into a traditional system if you wanted to build a traditional system. Like we have a DBT 300, which is a 4-inch round, effectively a radio, a head unit, a source unit that's waterproof or waterproof. And you would still be able to go aux in from that unit and then go out to a system as well. And in that, so you have different ways you can use this. Like we have entire display boards running off of this.
And to piggyback off that, we have a demo system that we take on the road with us. It does the same thing. We use a DBT 300 marine grade head unit. Use a sound bar. We run two sets of tubbies off that through a whole amplified system, and it sounds fantastic. It does a great job.
All right, very, very cool. What do we got next there, Romesh? It looks like you have goodies all around you.
I do. They're sort of they're on carts and on the floor, and we got lots of stuff in here. So we were talking about marine grade amplifiers earlier. in the Neo, keeping with the amphibious theme and sort of naming and wording, we've got the Neo M series, which are the smaller micro/motorcycle size applications, which are available in multi-channel as well as in mono. And I'll let Ernie, if he has anything to jump in.
Yeah, so Neo is basically a series inside of him. Oh, you're good.
Right, there you go.
Neo is basically a series inside of amphibious, and you're looking again, guys, marine grade, just like the soundbar, everything's IP rated, so you can hit this stuff with water and mud. It's not going to be a problem. We don't want to stand there and spray it with a pressure washer or a garden hose, but you get water on this stuff, you get sun on these items, it's not going to be an issue. We're running some mini amplifiers. Those are the M's that you see there. We got an M1, an M2, and an M4, which are exactly what you think. We got a monoblock. We got a 2-channel, and we have a 4-channel. And those are big power, small footprint. Again, you're thinking these are going into motorcycles. They're going UTVs. They're going Jeeps. Space is limited to these things. Not to mention that people are taking these other places. So they're wanting to pack away other things besides just their stereos inside these things when they go on a ride or they go doing whatever. So we're sensitive to that. We understand. So those things are small footprint, big time power output. We also have a Neo 1.5 and we have a Neo 4, and those are some larger amplifiers that just get you a lot more power.
This is the 4V2 right there.
There you go. So that's an amplifier that got a facelift with us about a year ago or 6 months ago, but has been in our family for quite a while. Same thing we just talked about, all the great things with the marine coatings and the IP ratings that you need there, just getting you a little bit more power, but still very sensitive to the footprint that you need to have inside some of these installs. And he's showing you right there with the great crossovers that come inside these. We use double-sided circuits inside these. So you're keeping the heat, you're keeping the signal away. These things are designed to play for long rides in sunshine with high moisture. I mean, they do a great job out there. Everything's conformal coated. So the elements are just going to be okay. They're not going to be an issue.
And they have to be, right? I mean, it's a pretty rough environment, whether it's mud, water, moisture, heat, extreme heat. How about cold? I have to ask. This is a Canadian show.
Well,
how's it doing in the cold?
I'm not Canadian, but I'm from Ohio. I understand what snow, ice, and wind and general blahs are. So yeah, it's not an issue to put these items on there. The thing of it is if you're gonna have a toy, you want to use it. So
yeah, our we go ATV like side by side right up until like December.
Yeah, and we've got people that use these things, believe it or not, in the snow year round constantly. Some of these guys, we do shows up where I live near Ohio and Michigan, and some of these guys are using them in farm applications or in logging applications. They're out in the middle of the wintertime driving through the woods. They're taking them out hunting. They're going back to a campsite and they're partying. And it's winter. It's February, so we understand that it's 10 degrees out or lower, and there's snow, and it's going to sit outside, and it's going to get frosty, and it's going to get freezing. Now, these things are built to withstand that type of environment. And then our company's based in South Texas, down by a Harlingen. We know what heat is. We know what salt is. We understand what the ocean can do to products. So one of the great things about us, and I share this often, is we're one of the very few manufacturers that can take a product from raw material all the way to finished product, to a finished item, and have taste touched, and used that item in a wide array of applications, sold it through a retail store, sold it through distribution, installed it on a vehicle, taken it to the beach, taken it to the woods, taken it to the ocean, taken it mudding, and done all these things with it to find out if it's going to perform, if it's going to hold up, long before it ever sees a retailer or a distributor's show floor. Not that we're a perfect company, but we're pretty confident in the products that we put out that they're going to stand up and hold up to the test of time and in those environments.
So when I get that amp on there, my side-by-side, it gets encrusted with the mud and then the slush and then the freezing rain. It gets encrusted. When I turn it on, Ernie, you're telling me it's going to play.
Let me tell you, you are doing a great job of putting me on the spot, right? Because there's going to be one dude out there that's going to go, it didn't work.
I'm being extreme for all you, but
yes, that's what it's built for. I mean, like I said, we buy the stuff to play with. If you buy a motorcycle, you didn't buy it to put it in your garage. Now, there's some guys that do, but okay, we recently did a giant Jeep show, and what I love about all of us dealers, we have our Jeeps that they sit out and we shine them up and they look really beautiful. The people that own Jeeps, one thing I admire about these folks, and I'm being very sincere when I say this, is when they bring their Jeep to a show, it is beautiful. I mean, the rims are perfect. The audio is on point. Everything is great. And then they take it to the trail and get it absolutely trashed and have so much fun doing this. And then you know what they do? They bring it back and they bring it back to the level that it was before they took it out on that trail. And I admire that. So you don't buy these things to not use them. Yeah, they need to look good and appearance is important. But if these things can't perform, we don't belong building this stuff.
What's the point? Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
No, that's the. I mean, Jeep is the largest segment in the aftermarket, right? I mean, they're ahead of all the automotive segments. I think second is Mustang, if I remember correctly, but first is Jeep by a country mile. So a lot of the product, it's even actually the stuff that Ernie's going to show you in the expert series in a moment will apply quite well too.
And this whole conversation, guys, if you're tuning in as a dealer first time, you're watching this on demand, car audio is always going to be there for sure. But if you're not looking at these other categories, be it marine, UTV, motors, whatever it is, outside
mobile electronics,
mobile audio is what is really what it is. It's where are people playing and where do they want to play their music? So that's what it's all about. Let's keep the ball rolling, guys.
You got it. What you got, Romesh? Throw something up there and let's talk about
expert
it.
series. Why don't you take us down the road?
So what does it take to be an expert mobile audio customer? What does that mean?
I don't know what it takes to be a dealer in Canada. I'm going to leave that up to Romesh.
Well, how about the expert? Whoop, let me try to do this reverse here in mirror. I don't know if that works. There you go. There's a spelling. Oh, it's not working. What speaker
you got there?
That's the expert 6.5.
EX6
NCD.
Yes, sir.
Show it again, Romesh. Put it up on the screen again. That's
really unique. So this is the neodymium 800 peak 400 continuous compression driver coaxial.
Yep. So that's a 6.5. And what you've got is basically a lot of passion and a lot of history built into this expert series. And you've got some people inside of our company, mainly Robert, the guy that owns the place, and then Danny. Danny's our research and development guy, and this has became his baby. He's our guy that says, every company should have the guy that wants to build something that is beyond expectation, and Danny's that guy, and he has the capability, and he brought us this product and said, I think we could do something with this. And he built us the golden goose right here. You're looking at, again, like Romesh just said, this is a neodymium speaker. It is IP rated, very, very popular with our motorcycle customers, very exclusive with the ability to sell this. So if you're a dealer and you're looking to pick this product up, it's not something that we just hand to anybody at any time. It's something that we really guard. Tremendous value, tremendous profit opportunities inside this line. But you've got that compression tweeter that's inside there, that driver that's rear mounted. So big time power handling capabilities when you are, and we do things like wave guides and frequency response that is sensitive to where it's being installed. What's important is when you put these things on the motorcycle or they end up going to the door of your vehicle or whatever, when these things get powered up the correct way, you are going to be very aware that you have a great speaker there. And you're going to hear me maybe talk about this when we talk about some tubbies here, but what's great about these things is we do loud clearly. It's easy to be loud. Heck, a train is loud, but it may not sound good. So what we're aware of when we're building these passion projects, we're trying to say, hey, we want to get to a certain level and maintain a certain quality, a certain integrity. We want to put out a product that's just going to excel and perform way beyond what any expectation is going to be. So if somebody can get a hold of that stuff and install it and use it the correct way, the expectation is going to be blown away because we're able to take this to a whole nother level inside the Expert Series.
Yeah, these are extremely efficient driver. They're very, they're similar to DB Drive's and the Euphoria Pro Series product. However, they're obviously marinized and treated appropriately for the environment that they're playing in. Where we've seen a tremendous amount of success with these is in motorcycles, guys that are looking for 4 and 6 and 8 driver applications where they've got custom bags and things where they're putting 2 or sometimes 3 amplifiers in the motorcycles. We're also seeing them though in boats for larger boats or boats that don't see a ton of necessarily, like they're not smaller craft where they get kind of a lot of spray and water inside the boat, or in cases where they need something louder, like even between the APS Amphibious series and these experts, obviously in a completely different kind of price point as well. But from a power handling standpoint, you're going from like 75 RMS to 400.
Oh,
and that's
geez. Okay.
Right. Well, it's because you're with the neodymium, you have so much more of a magnetic field. So then you're power handling, and you can build everything to be, considerably more sensitive, and have more control and more excursion and all that stuff. So that's where we've seen, we kind of brought, a few in, kind of going, let's see what happens. And we literally sold out of them the first week they showed up, and then it's been going, bat crazy since then.
When somebody sees that speaker and understands what its capability is, it's over. It becomes the go-to draw piece on somebody's sales floor. It's just what people instinctively go to because it's the best one that's out there. So you start there and show everybody what that piece is, and it's the piece that everybody wants to have in their vehicles. Hey, Romesh, do you have, since we're talking about some of these same technologies, could you throw that APT 10 up there?
I can. Let me just let me get the hardware out of the way here. Oh yeah, there's the hardware for it before we even get into it. Big, huge angry hardware. So this is Neo again.
Oh my goodness, what is that? Hold on.
So
this deserves a full screen moment here. Hold on.
Yeah, there you go.
What is that?
Hold on, I don't work out. The hell's wrong with you?
This is our APT 10 Moto G2. This is our 10-inch tubby speaker. This is a newer product to us towards the beginning of this year. Couple tremendous features that we want to talk about here. He's showing you that cone there. That's an anti-resonant basket. So what's important there is that thing doesn't turn into a cave, and it doesn't give you an echoey, cavernous sound. He was messing with the bracket up top there, and that's important. So this is a speaker that can now go onto your UTV. This can go onto your boat. This can go onto your Jeep, and it's not going to mar or mess up your bracket, and it's going to fit your bracket. It's a 360 universal swivelable bracket, full stainless hardware. So you're looking at, if you took that thing apart, you're going to see that that's 2 pieces to the bracket, but that's all solid formed aluminum. It's a heavy duty bracket that's designed to withstand, bouncing up and down on the lake, or going up and down the trails in a UTV, or just climbing the rocks in a Jeep. You can see some of the hardware there.
I think you just introduced a new word, swivelable.
There you go. Is that not a word?
I'm not sure if it is. But you're the first one to use it, so there you go. You've coined it. Done. Swivelable by Ernie Welch.
Hang on, I got it.
Trademark.
I'm filing my patent right now, guys. I gotta leave.
That is a hardcore looking. Well, I call them cans, but
show the front of that thing, Romesh.
Actually, you know what? Hang on, let me just show this while it's still up there. So we're talking about those RGB connections and weatherproof connection or weather resistant connection. So that's what we've got here, rather than just open terminals and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Right. And then for people who aren't using the RGB, obviously you just put the cap on and away you go. And you were talking about the front.
And, well, you got the connections back there. Sure. The connection behind that is your speaker connection. So what we do is we give you, instead of giving you spring-loaded terminals or something like that, we give you a true watertight connection at the can itself. And then it drops off into your speaker lead so that you could do a good watertight heat shrink or whatever connection that you decide to make during your install there. So just, again, all the little things that make that product step up in value and lets a customer be satisfied with the integrity of their product they're getting. The front of that thing, that giant tweeter, that giant horn, that compression loaded horn that you're seeing there, that's a perfect shot right there. You can see how deep that thing is back in there. So again, you see the dimples inside there. We use waveguide technology. We let that thing just rip, get out, get loud, but sound good when it's doing it. So because this is so wide in its application, we need the person that is 70 feet behind the boat to be able to hear these things playing. But we also need the person that's sitting in the front seat of the Jeep or the front seat of the UTV to enjoy that sound without just saying, oh, it's too harsh, I can't stand that. All those pieces, all that technology is what brings out home in a piece like that APT-10. I make a similar speaker to that in an 8. I make it a 6.5. I've got another speaker that is like a piano black finish, something if you want to class it up a little bit. And of course, we make some of these in white as well. And again, RGB function. So if you decide that, hey, I want to make this thing bright and I want to flash, I want to make it match my Jeep, or I want to make it match my light bars, no problem. You have that capability there.
And then you were talking about appropriately or properly powered earlier. So there's an entire expert series of amplifiers in the expert series designed to pair nicely with the different lines of speakers between coaxes and mid-bass drivers. Even in the expert series, we have dedicated pro audio style mid-bass drivers, like 8s, 6s. So for those guys that put 3 in a door per side and need 2,000 RMS a door, we got you.
I just want to clarify something. You mentioned the expert series of amplifiers. Are those also weatherproof?
So you've got IP ratings on these, because they do go on motorcycles.
Okay.
So again, anything that's electronic, you don't want to stand there and spray it with a garden hose.
Right,
but you're a guy that's driving down the interstate and you get caught in a rainstorm, you should be okay with this stuff. Big time power in this expert series. These amplifiers are legit. When you want to get out and just rip and make these things perform, these high power speakers that we have, we all know it's easier to get louder if you have big clean power. If it starts getting dirty at that top end, that's when we start seeing failure. So when you have some things like our expert series or those APT-10s and you want big clean power, expert does a fantastic job brightening those things up. Just really brings them to life.
So you would recommend these for that horn loaded compression driver that you showed just previously?
Yes. You could go there. Yep.
Okay.
You could go there. Mm-hmm. Because we make a whole series inside there. He's holding up a 5-channel there, but I got a 2-channel. I got a couple of 4 channels. That's the 5 channels you can run an entire system off of right there. And again, size sensitive. That's the biggest amp at the 5-channel there, but the 2 channels, the 4 channels get into a smaller chassis size.
Yeah, most of the 2s are, this size or even sometimes smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is, you're able to palm that. It gives you an idea just sort of in a motorcycle application, how you can fit that in the bags and still fit, quad like the Moto, the WDX Moto 69s, the 6x9s. You could put like 4 of them in a set of bags and still be able to fit amplifiers because they're small enough, right?
Crazy. Yep.
That's it. What else you got laying there, Romesh? Anything else we want to cover?
I am out.
You're out. So one thing that I do want to hit on real quick, and I can just talk about this with you guys, is the the way that inside of Amphibious, everything just kind of interlocks together. So we see people, Amphibious has been out for a few years now, and we go to some of these shows and we work with our local dealer base and we work with our distributors here in the US. And what we find is people will work up their stereos. And Ben, you mentioned this earlier. People will say, hey, they'll come to us and they'll buy a 50-inch light bar. They'll buy a sound bar. They'll buy a set of tubbies. Those are rock lights that Romesh has got there. And they come back and they say, hey, I've put a 50-inch light bar across my windshield and now I want to put a set of rock lights in my vehicle. Hey, I want to put some 4-inch on my pillar blocks or on my window pillars. We're seeing, because of the culture, what we see there is people are happy and comfortable to grow with us. So the controllers, the integration,
sell the 8-channel controller is what he's saying. And and the reason behind it is you get the app flexibility, and you have the other connections available to you for marginally more than the 4, so that when they do come back, you do have enough outputs and you're not splicing into stuff and turning it into a make work project. Like these rock lights are absolutely insane. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that shiny bit, that reflective bit on the back, that's actually all epoxy. So after it's all screwed together and built, this is all epoxy together. So literally in the showroom, and I can't move my camera to show you, but I can literally stand on these because these are actually all metal outers, right? And then epoxy on this side and on the lens side, and then epoxy on there as well. So everything here is sealed. You can't get water in there if you wanted to.
Those are super popular. The UTV guys love that stuff.
And the Jeep guys, they put them in the wheel wells on everything.
Oh, is that what they're putting in the wheel wells? Okay.
They go to the wheel wells and light up, and people just use them as an underbody because a traditional underbody kit just doesn't stand up to the rigors of what's going on out there. We've seen them on snowmobiles. I've seen them on jet skis. Everybody uses them in whatever fun way that they want to use them. But to bring it all home, what's great is if somebody says, hey, I want to add a set of tubbies, somebody says, hey, I want to add a set of rock lights, we have the integration that it all comes back together.
You don't have to say no. You say yes every time. Yep.
And somebody doesn't have to leave us or leave your dealer to upgrade to what they want to do. They could be comfortable saying, hey, here's where I am today, and I want to get here tomorrow. And it gives them that capability.
Yeah, absolutely. In the couple minutes remaining, while I have you with us, Ernie, what are some of the secrets of the trade when it comes to demonstrating this, from a dealer level? Like, you're the dealer and you've talked to so many. Well, what's the most efficient way to market this stuff to the customer right now? I'll
tell you 2 things that I really believe in. First of all, you have to have it to sell it. We are an on-demand culture. You could purchase something in some cities today and have it today. So I'm a firm believer that you have to have product in your store to sell it. It's convenient to have a distributor. I would purchase from a distributor, but put that stuff in your store and have it ready to go, whether it's my product or someone else's, because that customer will walk and we've all heard the excuses. I'll get back to you. You know what? Give me your card. I'll let you know. That's the way that they lessen their guilt of walking out of your shop and not buying from you. Okay. So that's number one.
The guilt. I love that. That's great. Yeah.
So you got to have the product in your shop. Now, from more of a true selling standpoint, the number one issue that I see with things on demo boards and in demo cars is they're underpowered. If you want to, we didn't talk about it today, but we have in the past. I make a WDX6 Moto speaker. It's a fantastic speaker. The thing gets out and rips. It does a fantastic job. It is night and day comparison to that Expert 6.5 that Romesh showed us earlier. So if you were to take those 2 speakers and you put them inside of a soundboard and you use a amplifier that sounds great on that WDX6 Moto, and then you just go B and turn on that Expert Series speaker, the consumer is going to be underwhelmed. Heck, the dealer may be underwhelmed because the power requirement for that speaker is so much more. I see the same thing with a lot of woofers. I see things that they get underpowered and they get slappy and they get weak in their performance. So those are my 2 things, Ben. If I could walk into any dealership today and say, hey, here's what you could do to increase your business, put product there And then if I'm a sales guy, every day I walk in the store, I walk into my inventory room and I see what I have in stock, and guess what I'm going to sell that day? It's what I have in stock. So the second point is make sure the stuff that you have on your demo boards is powered very well, and it's clean, and it's doing a great job. If your demo board can't look and sound fantastic, how is that consumer supposed to expect you to do a great install inside their vehicle?
Well, but
third point.
Third one. Keep it coming.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Get your pizza boxes out of your show floor. Clean your show floor up. Okay, so this is my thing, Ben. I'll let you go with this. Okay.
In Canada.
This is my number one. This is my thing that I tell my dealers, and it's kind of a joke, but it's not. Would your grandmother buy a stereo from you? If your grandma walked in your store, would she buy a stereo from you?
Not if she was deterred by the dirt and stuff that was lying around.
That's my point. Does she want to see the girly pictures hanging up on the walls? Does she want to see the pizza boxes laying on the floors?
Girly pictures? What are you referring to, Mr. Welch? I don't know
that's
idea
it,
what
man.
you're talking about.
That's it. So those are my points, and I'm going to shut up before I lose my customer base.
Okay, no, listen. I got two things I want to comment on what you said, and Romesh, you can gladly come in. The first thing you mentioned was inventory. You know, in the world of internet sales, one of the biggest defining features that brick and mortar store have versus the internet store is that they can actually come in and touchy-feely everything.
Mm-hmm. They can also get it right then, not tomorrow.
Now. You don't have to wait for shipping. I don't care if it gets me free shipping.
When you're hot and
now,
now.
The weight, the textures, the fabrication components, the metal, the bolts, everything you just showed on the screen, when you put that on the customer side, this is what you're paying for. Okay, that's number one. And the second part is, if you have to choose between an amplifier for your soundboard, and this is what I've been gathered. I've talked to people who make soundboards. I've talked to high-end audiophile companies. Go with the biggest, baddest amplifier you have to put on that board, because your cheaper speaker will sound its best, and so will the highest speaker.
Exactly.
So unless your intention is to A/B comparison, what happens when you have not enough power versus the appropriate power, and you can only do one, go with the bigger amp.
Always.
Another thing that we've seen with Expert Series, funny enough, during the pandemic, right, is with the restrictions into the showrooms and all the different things that are going on. The stores that are actually turning them are all the same guys that ordered them in to test them or put them in their own bike, or one of their employees. Sometimes, if you're in this kind of thing where, well, there's nobody in my showroom, I get it. But when you go out riding on your bike and you go stop by the coffee shop or wherever it is that you stop by, or outside your building where people can stand outside, right? That's your best demo. And the fact that you're using it is fine, right? But you're convinced and you're excited about it, and they get to demo it in the real world, not even on the demo board, because they can't maybe get into your store depending on what's going on in your geographic area. It's the best possible investment. To demo your best stuff out there. You can always step down. That's easy, right? But it's hard to go up from there once the guy thinks that that's the pinnacle.
I'm going to share one story. We're going to close it here.
Okay.
One shop that it's not going to go mention, but it's a one-off shop. It's not a part of a change. It's a one-off shop, and they decided to get into mobile audio outside of car stereos about 5-6 years ago. And their mantra for their success in car audio was always having an awesome demo vehicle. It was usually the owners or the installers or somebody, right? Well, they decided to get a Harley. Then they got a side-by-side. And then they got a boat. And this place rocks. I mean, they're booked out 6 months out. But when I speak with them, all they talk about is, if the customer can't sit in it and pretend that and envision that this is theirs, you're going to lose half your sales, maybe more. So I don't know if you guys agree, but I can tell you.
You're right.
100%.
People come into a retail location trying to fulfill a dream. Again, we are selling fun. They have a vision in their mind of a place that they want to be. If you can take them there, then it's easier when you're saying, get in my boat, get in my truck, whatever.
Soundboards are great, and I'm not taking away from the soundboard thing. But when you're on the actual boat and you hear, you hear and see why these are built a certain way, and when you talk about it, the horn drivers and the lighting systems, you can actually.
I've done water tests with some boat manufacturers, and literally people from 70 feet away will come over and start asking, not about the boat. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? How did I like? How do I get?
How are
Where
you
do I go?
pounding like this? From
And this is
far
a boat
away?
manufacturer. They don't even sell the audio, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
attached to the boat, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's huge, and it
Absolutely.
solidifies you as an expert in that area because you have
100%.
whatever it is that person wants. So
Yeah. And you know, we did some recent CMA lives where the other manufacturers suggested, you know, if you don't have it in the budget, you know, to get your own vehicle right now, hook up with the boat dealer, hook up with the UTV dealer in town, do a program, a partnership, some kind. But if you don't do it, you can't expect people to come to your door knocking, say, hey, can you soup up my UTV or my bike or whatever? So that's it. Great. I just really appreciate you guys and Ernie bring all the wealth of knowledge. You guys are real, you know, as usual, just like with your car audio, very well thought out. You got the entry level all the way up to the expert or pro, and the culture is strong.
Hey,
absolutely.
we just started.
Take
a look at this amphibious line. If you're somebody that's considering it, talk to the guys at Importel. Today we just talked about the icing. There is so much underneath this brand and underneath this category in this amphibious line. Take a deep look. There's a lot of solid product there.
Absolutely.
On that note, we're gonna have you back, Ernie, next Wednesday, May 5th, CMA Live. We're doing Powersports. So obviously
Okay.
we're at the table, and we're doing but this is different. We're gonna really pick a couple of things that we're gonna go deeper in.
Okay.
And showcase stuff. So thanks for joining us today, Ernie.
Ernie,
We'll talk
thanks
to you
for
Thanks
making
guys.
the time
Great
for
to
us.
be here.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you. Bye.
later. So there you have it, Romesh.
We do. That was.
There you have it.
Oh, what happened there?
What's that?
I just heard an echo. That was weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, my takeaway from that, I mean, I just like how they have the different levels. You know, a lot of brands have that one offering.
Mm-hmm. It's like,
They
hey,
have-
we
You
do
know what I mean?
Marine here. There you go. There's your
Yeah.
1 6.5 and your 6x9 and your.
Yeah.
So we can go from anywhere from a replacement and an older boat, or a boat where it's got a 5 1/4 and you want to hog out a bigger hole and get a 6.5 in there, right up to 400 RMS a driver and going
Cool.
mad.
How's the inventory? Good? People should call right now and
Great.
order?
They should order, because as soon as it comes in, it goes pretty quick. Let me tell you. No matter
Get
how
it
much we
done.
order.
Get it
Yep.
done.
Oh yeah. Inventory.
All right.
I think it's gonna be like last year. Inventory is gonna be king. If you've got it, you'll make the sale, and if you don't,
And like Ernie
might
said,
have to
put
wait.
it on the showroom floor. You know.
absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Romesh. Always
Thanks, Ben.
pleasure having
Thanks,
you.
Team
Talk
Lee.
to you soon.
Appreciate it.
Romesh, our 12-volt specialist from Importel, and that was Ernie Welch from DB Drive, Euphoria, Amphibious, all those great brands from the DB Drive family. Powersports is hot. You're going to hear us talking about a lot. Like I said, CMA Live next Wednesday, all about Powersports as well. This is the season. The toys are coming out to play. Take advantage of the time. Get the product, get your clients happy, get it out the door. Hey, thanks for tuning in for this lunch hour learning session, CMA Connected. Once again, I am your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.